Hello everyone, Professor Kurzlik here. So in the United States, there's a lot of discussion, news, debate right now about a funding bill that is currently being voted on, is currently working its way through Congress. So there's a lot of discussion right now about priorities, about where money should be being spent at, this age-old debate over guns and butter. Should money be spent more on one thing or another, more on defense, more on social safety nets? And so I just wanted to make a video today talking about this idea of neoliberalism, something that we hear a lot. And so I just wanted to make an introductory video kind of talking about what this idea is. And so when we think at the most basic level of neoliberalism, we're really thinking about giving a lot of power to markets. This idea of less government intervention, this idea of minimal government intervention, really just to maybe to protect private property rights, at times to stop monopolies, but giving more power to markets, less power to regulatory, less power to government intervention. So when we hear this debate, and we hear this debate that we are hearing in the US right now about what to spend money on, and the big thing that's being discussed is Medicare cuts and how much social safety net should exist, how much money should the government be spending. So that's a debate we all hear, and it's really rooted in this idea of neoliberalism, this idea of the government pulling back, taking a back seat, not completely absent, not a complete lack of any government, because you still need governments to enforce private property rights. So when we think about neoliberalism, we've all heard of it, we've all heard the term. What we're thinking about is this idea of really allowing the markets to do their own thing. So when we think about what markets do, so if we were in a classroom, I oftentimes give the example of buying coffee and why do we buy coffee where we do. And I ask my students, if we were in a classroom, I'd ask my students, why did you buy the coffee you did? Or why did you buy the Starbucks? Why did you buy some other brand? And then people tell me maybe it's the location, the taste, maybe it's the ambience of the establishment. But these are decisions that we make as individuals with really minimal government intervention. We are choosing to spend money where we want to. So this idea of neoliberalism, of really allowing the market to set prices, really allowing the market to dictate worth and salary, really what we're talking about. This can be quite different than, say, Keynesian economics, which is what has existed for a while in the post-World War II period. Keynesian economics were really the driver of governmental policy, more intervention. And we certainly still see this in many, many European countries that have a bigger social safety net, have more government intervention. In the US, there's certainly less. There's certainly less of a social safety net. Just the structure of the US economic system. So when we think about neoliberalism, this is quite different than, say, Keynesian economics, again, which was prominent coming out of the Second World War. So with Keynesian economics, more government intervention, maybe more of a social safety net, more government spending to get the economy moving or driving the economy. With neoliberalism, again, it's allowing markets to flourish. Not plenty of markets in Keynesian economics, but the idea behind more of a neoliberalism is less government intervention, less regulation, allowing, again, the markets to flourish. Friedrich Hayek was really the driving force behind neoliberalism. So when we think about when neoliberalism grew, we can think of people like Ronald Reagan, really trying to implement neoliberal policies, more globalization, where corporations can easily move around capital around the world looking for a return on profits, which then brings economies closer together. But we know there's some pushback. We know right now there's a bit of an anti-globalization pushback in a lot of countries, especially in the US, with the election of Donald Trump, who really ran on an anti-globalization platform. So when we think about the role of the state and the economy in neoliberalism, it's definitely taking a step back and being less prominent in the economy. Okay, thank you.